What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of Talk That Talk podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Tux Topics, coming to you today with a dope topic. And I really like this topic because anybody in the world that you ask, they're going to say, yeah, I'm standing on business. I'm standing on business. That's just how it goes. So let's get into this whole topic of standing on business. Exactly what is it? And if you are standing on business, what exactly is it that you're doing? Because standing on business simply means to take care of your responsibilities. Nothing more, nothing less. It's a personal thing. So the opinions of others and what other people think you should do, yeah, they may play a role into it, but at the end of the day, your own choices, your own decisions, your own actions are basically what determines whether you are standing on business or not. Excuse me. Now, like I just said, so make it clear, handling your responsibility, nothing more, nothing less. So now, would the standing on business for a street nigga be the same for a businessman, for a father, for, let's just say, someone in a certain amount of power or with a certain position? Would standing on business all mean the same thing? Now, just, if you have any common sense at all, no, of course it wouldn't. Standing on business for a street dude would, be totally different from what would be expected of, let's say, a regular civilian or someone that, hasn't jumped off the porch, as we say in the hood or in the neighborhood or whatever you want to call it. Because if you ask a person, are they standing on business? Everybody goes, yeah, I'm standing on business. Well, are you really? Because if you at a certain age in your life and you still doing certain things in your life, then there's no way you could be standing on business. It's like almost impossible. Because if you're not taking care of your responsibilities, then you can't be standing on business. And that is a all-around thing. It's not, I'm handling one thing, but I'm slacking in another. Or I'm taking care of this and I'm not taking care of that. It doesn't work like that. When a person is standing on business, how can I just say it? Like it's a way of life, basically. Standing on business is a way of life. Now, as far as the streets go, we all know everybody wants to be a street dude. If you talk to them, yeah, I did this. Tony Montana, I done did everything under the sun. But when you really break it down and you get to know these people, most of them never really stood on business in the streets. I know that because nobody knows you. If you stand on business in the streets, people will know about you in more than just your neighborhood, and that's just a fact. If you can't go 3 or 4 different places, 4 or 5 different places outside of your neighborhood, and people know you just off name, then how could you ever consider yourself someone that stood on business? If you gangbanging especially. And I'm not encouraging none of this, but we're talking about a street dude standing on business. So if you are in a gang or running with a crew or whatever, and you see an eye or you're involved in some type of situation with your back against the wall, if you've ever folded, you didn't stand on business. If you ever was a victim and didn't get back, you didn't stand on business. If anybody ever disrespected you in any type of way, you didn't stand on business. And I don't know what's going on in 2025 with recording everything. Every fight, every argument, every people whipping out their cameras. That's definitely not standing on business for a street dude. That's snitch. If you're pulling out the camera to record a crime, especially your own crime, not only are you dumb as hell, but you're snitching. So how could you ever feel like you stood on business? There's no way possible that you could feel as a man, street dude, or whatever you want to label yourself, that you stood on business. It's utterly impossible. Especially if you was a victim. If somebody did something to you and you ain't getting no get back, you did not stand on business. And like I said, I'm not encouraging it. I was a street dude. I don't claim to be one now. So I ignore all of this dumb shit, all of these dumb conversations, and I ignore all of that. Because for me, at this particular moment in my life, it would serve me no point. That wouldn't be standing on business for me. To go out here and entertain dumbass conversations about physical altercations and who can fight and all of that. bro, I'm trying to buy a house. I'm trying to make sure my children is straight. Like, I don't give a fuck about who can fight and all. That's not standing on business for me. It serves me no purpose. It's not my responsibility to know who can fight in my neighborhood. When I was in the streets, niggas had 25, 30 years to test this. Nobody did. So at this point, I don't give a fuck. And I really stand on that as far as standing on business go, because I'm at the phase in my life where, for me, standing on business is making sure that the house is secure, that the kids are secure, that the family's secure. That's standing on business. It's not nobody else's business how I do it, but that's standing on business. And minding people business do not mean you standing on business. Let's get that out there too. Because people feel like because they have an opinion on shit, that they standing on business. Nobody gives a fuck what you talking about. That doesn't mean you still on business. Because you on the outside talking. If you wasn't in the game, you shouldn't even be talking about it. Nobody cares. How could you talk about it? You wasn't a member. So basically, you're not standing on business. You minding people's business. That's it. A lot of people got to learn the difference. If you in somebody else's business, period, that is not your responsibility. So there's nothing that you could feel or say to somebody else, I guess, involving their lifestyle that has nothing to do with you and consider yourself standing on business. Like, no, you're minding people's business and you got a big fucking mouth. That's it. Because a real street dude would have told you that. Like, yo, mind your business. You ain't a member. So shut up. That's how it works. And I'm not shooting at nobody. I'm stating facts. If you don't like the facts, it is what it is. I really don't give a fuck. I'm standing on business, I guess. But like I said, I'm at that age in my life where for me, standing on business is taking care of the children that I'm responsible for. The people that I'm responsible for. And if that's a problem, then I guess I'm not standing on business. If you ain't a street dude, then standing on business is still basically the same thing as being a man, taking care of anything you're responsible for. If you don't have children, then take care of your bills, your relationship, the people that you consider your loved ones. Like, everybody has a responsibility, and if you're not doing that, you ain't standing on business. You getting money, ain't taking care of your moms, nigga, you ain't standing on business. I don't give a fuck. You ain't taking care of your family and you call yourself getting any type of money, you ain't standing on business. And that's legal, illegal, whatever. Don't really matter. But a lot of people need to stop saying they standing on business because you fucking not. You're really not. All you're doing is wasting time and doing a whole bunch of fucking talking. Because standing on business simply means handling your responsibility. So if you out here fighting and doing all this looting and hooting and robbing and shooting and all type of other shit, and it ain't no goal behind it, you ain't standing on business, you just a fucking crash dummy. And that's just the truth. I'm just telling you what the yes men around you are afraid to tell you. And that's me being truthful. Because at the end of the day, nobody can stand on your business. You got to stand on that for yourself. And stop expecting people to relate to you because that's the way you would handle certain things. What you consider standing on business might not be for somebody else. Everybody is not built the same. So stop putting everybody in the same bracket based on what you think, how you think somebody should have handled it. No, it don't work like that. Because a lot of you ain't really out here doing shit. And that's just being honest. I don't sit around and give opinions on shit and talk about shit just to talk about it. If I really have something that I consider a strong input, then yeah, I'm going to stand on business about it because that's what the fuck I feel. But I'm not going to sit here and just feel like, oh, because I got a platform, I'm just going to talk. No, that shit is whack. And people that sit around motherfuckers, that's misleading motherfuckers and tricking motherfuckers out their spot, you ain't keeping it 100. So you could never consider yourself as a person who stands on business if you watching a motherfucker crash out or doing all type of dumb shit and you ain't saying nothing. A lot of the people around you really don't give a fuck about you or your business. So when you decide to, and we're talking about as you do, when you decide to stand on business, you're going to get haters. You're going to get motherfuckers with opinions. Everybody's going to have something to say. So you can't give a fuck. Because That's the part, that's the phase of your life where things become lonely. When you finally decide to really hold it down for yourself and do the shit that makes you happy and do the things you want to do and stand on business for yourself, a lot of motherfuckers gonna have an opinion about it. But no, niggas is not out here standing on business. I don't care how you feel. You're not. You got bills you ain't paying, you got kids you ain't taking care of, you got family members that you watch and sink. But all the time you painting this picture that you standing on business and you're not. Hate to be the one to tell you that. I had to get my shit together. I was slacking when it came to one of my children. Had to get my shit together. So understand accountability started here. So I'm not sitting here talking about, oh, what a motherfucker doing and ain't doing and all that. Nah, this shit starts here. So the next time a motherfucker tell you they standing on business, allow them to explain themselves. How are you standing on business? Because as far as most of us know, you never did nothing. And I'm not saying everybody got to be this big old superstar and everybody got to be a gangster and everybody got to make $1 million. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is don't portray yourself like you out here handling your shit and you standing on business and everything in your motherfucking life is taken care of and you putting on the front. Because that's what a lot of people is doing. A lot of people is not handling shit. They just look good. They fucking excellent looking losers. And that's the truth. And we've all done it. I'm not sitting here like I'm no fucking role model for nothing. I'm definitely not a role model. Niggas know my history. Niggas know what's up with me. But niggas also know that I stood on business when I was a street nigga. That's what I was. Huh? When my name came up, niggas knew what time it was. And that's a fact. And it's the same thing right now from my father's point of view. When my children get involved, the school call, they know it's a motherfucker here that cares. You understand? When shit happened with my children, people find out their father, they say, oh, I didn't even know that was your kid. Which lets me know right away I stood on motherfucking business. Because he ain't out here acting like me. None of them. Acting like I acted. They not following in my footsteps. They following in the things I taught them. I didn't bring none of this gangbanging shit around mine. My children never knew nothing about no motherfucking Crip or blood or none of that shit. No. Because once I became a father, I stood on my business in that aspect. I didn't bring bullshit around my children. I was not going to allow that. And I was still banging the whole time. And niggas know this. Like I was literally out here putting it down and then coming home every night being a father. Standing on business, handling my shit. And anybody who was around me know that. They know that. I always handled mine. So, when you say that you're standing on business, people, make sure that you really are and you handling it all the way around the board. Because standing on business means handling your responsibility whether you want to or not. Not because I'm not with my baby mom, so I ain't doing this. Or I ain't with my baby father, so I ain't doing this. Or I don't fuck with this dude no more, so I ain't paying him his money back. Or this. None of that. All that shit is corny. All of it's corny. There's a motherfucking person who's saying you going to handle your responsibility and you going to take care of your responsibilities as a man. Make sure you do that. As a woman, make sure you do that. As whatever you want in life. Make sure you do that. Because standing on business is more than a motherfucking slogan or a statement. It's an action. And a lot of you motherfuckers ain't standing on business. And I'm not here to embarrass anybody or none of that. Because like I said, who the fuck am I? I'm a regular motherfucker, bro. Trying to get my shit together and keep it together. But I stand on business. Every aspect of my life. From when I was in the streets all the way to right now. There's no flaws in my character. None. If you want to say I was greedy, grimy, whatever you can say, all of that, that's street shit. When I was in the streets, that's what it was. But ain't nobody ever played me. Ain't nobody ever called me out. Ain't nobody ever asked me did I want to do anything and I turned it down. And that's street shit. And as a father, it's the same way. My kids ain't never needed nothing they ain't get. They ain't never called on me and I wasn't there. Even when I was locked up, I was providing. And these is facts. What people love to speak on shit they don't know about. Stand on your own business. Don't worry about other niggas' business. And that's the way you got to make things work. That's how you got to make things happen. Because at the end of the day, it's only your business. You can't nobody stand on your business but you. Thank you for watching.